Hello and welcome and thank you for watching. My name is Crystal Potts and I'm the current chair of the Communications Committee for the Business Law section of the Florida Bar. And today we are continuing our Better Know a Judge series where the Communications Committee interviews Florida judges. If you have not done so already, then we encourage you to subscribe to the BLS YouTube channel and to follow us on social media. We'll be sure to post the links to our social media account in the caption. And also, please subscribe to our BLS newsletter to be kept up to date on the activities of the section. And as always, we welcome you to join us as a BLS member. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, I will be interviewing Judge Julie Sneed, a magistrate judge who sits in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, Tampa Division. Judge Sneed was appointed to the bench on June the 15th of 2015. Judge Sneed, thank you for agreeing to take part in this series, and I am very happy to be speaking with you today.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here with you today and with the members of the Business Law section of the Florida Bar Association. Thanks for inviting me.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into the conversation. So starting off, basic questions. Where did you grow up?
So I am definitely a Florida native, and I have moved across the state of Florida. Let's see, I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is in South Florida. And I went to elementary school and middle school in Fort Lauderdale. I went to, just in case anybody out there is listening that is aware of these schools, Sable Palm Elementary, which is now, I think it's now named Martin Luther King Elementary, and Parkway Middle School in Fort Lauderdale. And then my family moved up to Orlando and went to high school there at Edgewater High School, and then went to undergrad in Gainesville at the University of Florida and law school at Florida State, the Florida State University College of Law in Tallahassee.
Perfect.
I've also been all over the state of Florida. And now back in Tampa.
Sounds like it. But that's good. You're able to have different experiences throughout the state. So that's perfect.
Absolutely, for sure.
And so who were your role models, your heroes, or your inspiration growing up?
I would definitely say that my role models and my inspiration growing up were my mother and my grandmother, as well as my great-grandmother. In my family, we had a lot of strong matriarchs, and they just, they kept order, they kept the house organized, they kept all the kids organized. And then, my grandmother and great-grandmother, they were small business women. My mother had a career in corporate America the entire time, that I was a child. And, there were lots of obstacles that she faced in that setting. She did not attend college. And so she just really excelled and did well based on sheer determination and drive. And I'm going to say just having some good common sense. And so just seeing the strength that they had and just the power that they had just as being, African-American women. I just loved it and thrived from it. And they were really my heroes and still are today.
Perfect. And so when you were a kid, when you're growing up and you have your inspiration as your mother and your grandmother, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did your idea of a career, did it stem from what you saw growing up, or was there another source that played into just, I guess, your dream of what you wanted to be when you became an adult?
Interestingly, although they just really were my inspirations and I drew a lot of strength from them and continue to, I did not, aspire to follow in their same footsteps. I, as a kid, just loved reading, and I was always, someplace with my nose in the book, in a book someplace, wandering around the library trying to figure out what else should I read and what else looks interesting. And so I really thought I would always end up in a career that involved reading and also writing. I was also had a lot of interest in journalism, and was always on the yearbook staff and that sort of thing. So I really thought I was going to be a journalist or some kind of writer when I grew up, maybe even a teacher. That was even a possibility as well.
Mhm. Oh, that's interesting. That's what my undergrad is in, journalism, and we share a lot of similarities, love to read and write. And so that's,
Absolutely.
yes.
My major is in the College of Journalism and Communications as well. I decided to major in public relations because I thought I was going to kind of meld together some of my interests, which are the writing and the reading, but also the organizing and public speaking, I thought. So that I ended up in public relations, but definitely in the College of Journalism and Communications.
Perfect. And so what played into your decision to go to law school?
And that was the tough one because I really did see myself as a journalist or as a public relations executive, but I think I just really wanted to do more. I did take a year off of from between law school and undergraduate. And really, I think during that time, it really just solidified for me that I want to do more. I want to figure out how I can use the skills that I have, but also to help people and do more in the world. And so that's really what led me to law school.
Okay. And so what can you tell us about your journey, your career path in becoming an attorney?
I would say, and my path has, it's been a little bit of a winding road. I, have done a couple of clerkships at different levels and worked at different law firms as a commercial litigator and business litigator. And I loved all of those experiences. And I would just say to young people, take advantage of the opportunities that might come your way, even if you might think, I'm going to have XYZ career path. And as lawyers sometimes do, and people that are, very organized may do, you sort of might lay out exactly what you think your plan is going to be. But I would say just be open to change and be open to transitions in life, because you just never know where they might lead. And it could be just a fantastic opportunity. And you don't want to miss it by being too rigid in your planning.
Okay, so in speaking about rigidity in the plan, and lawyers kind of have everything organized, is that what your situation was when you were practicing attorney? Did you have, okay, first 5 years, I want to do this, next 5 years, I want to do that, and then in accordance with your plan, if you had one, were you willing in the beginning to adjust, or was it difficult to adjust when things came up and kind of took you off of that plan?
That's, it was really stressful for me, I will say, when I started to figure out, well, maybe there are other things that I should pursue instead of the plan that I may have laid out for myself. But I would say that I embraced it. I had children. My husband and I, we started to have children, as young couples do, and that really just sort of helped me to reevaluate what sort of what might be right and a different, the different career opportunities at a different time. And so sometimes, it was interesting and excellent to take the deep dive into the really complicated class action cases. It was, that's just excellent work. And it's actually excellent work for lawyers in general, just sort of to wrap your mind around the very big complex cases. At the same time, and that was great work too for a mother, being in federal court, doing a lot of pleadings, spending inordinate amount of time, I'm going to say, on a handful of cases and taking a deep dive into those cases. That was excellent work, and it was excellent work that fit my lifestyle as a mom. But then as the kids got older, I wanted to be in the rough and tumble world of trial practice. I wanted to go. And the kids were older, and it suit my my lifestyle. It was, the challenge that I wanted. I had already figured out, about having the experiences with the larger cases, and I wanted to have the experiences with the smaller cases that really got you into court much more often, and help you to use that strategy with the arguments and the oral arguments in court. And you really are able to perfect those when you are in court regularly all the time, reading the judges' faces, figuring out what's effective, what isn't. And that was just so much fun. It was so much fun. So, I'm glad that I was open to it. And of course, the kids and your lifestyle help you to become more open to it. But it was, it all worked out great.
Okay. And so getting into questions about your judgeship. So you were appointed in 2015. How was that transition from a practicing attorney to a judge?
I had clerked for 2 judges before, so I did have some understanding of what the role was, and what the life of the judge would be, at least from a perspective as a law clerk that is assisting the judge. And that was excellent experience, and it gave me just the opportunity to see how the judges make their decision, how difficult the job is. And really the buck stops with you in terms of the decision making. And I watched the judges agonize over those decisions and really work hard to reach the right decisions in their cases. And so then the transition for me, it was not difficult from that side of things, from being the decision maker and exercising judgment and working very hard to try to reach the right decision. What was a little bit more difficult is you're not arguing anymore. You're not an advocate anymore. The fun that you might have being a trial lawyer, you sort of have to observe that vicariously and enjoy the lawyers as they are participating in that process. So that was a little difficult. And then, here at the court, we also have to really work hard. We have to be very purposeful about making sure that we interact with other people, because it is a very I'm going to say isolating type of an experience. You're not in a big law firm or even a small law firm with a large group of people. You're in a office, a very nice office with a very nice group of people, but a handful of people. And so you really have to be much more purposeful about being sure that you interact with others. And for me, I like to talk with people like you in the business law section of the Florida Bar Association and the other bar associations here locally in the Middle District of Florida, so that I can make sure that I interact with others and, not necessarily be so isolated here in the courthouse.
Okay. And what is one piece of advice you would give for attorneys who may appear before you?
I would definitely say read the rules of the Middle District of Florida, because we adhere to those rules. So that really it's incredibly important. I would also say read the federal rules of civil procedure or the rules of criminal procedure if it's a criminal matter. And then I would say be collegial. Try to be, of course, you're going to be professional. All of our lawyers are professional, but try to be as collegial as you can, even though, the people that appear in court are in court because they're having a problem that they have not been able to solve themselves. So admittedly, they are having an issue that they cannot resolve. They need assistance with resolving it. So I would just urge them, despite the stress, the anger, the frustration they may be feeling, or feeling themselves or being passed on to them through their clients, that they just remain collegial and professional when they appear in court.
Okay. That is great advice. So you never want to appear before the judge unprepared and not knowing the specific preferences and rules. And so, what type of cases do you hear as a magistrate judge?
The cases in the Middle District of Florida are very varied. I mean, it's extremely varied. And as a magistrate judge, I have the opportunity and really the privilege of seeing so many different types of cases, both criminal and civil. And as a magistrate judge, I handle most of those cases before they proceed to trial. So all of the initial proceedings on the criminal side, as well as some of the discovery matters on the criminal side, as well as even the dispositive motions, they may be referred to me or my magistrate judge colleagues as for a report and recommendation, for example, on a motion to suppress evidence. So it's very varied. Then we also, I think it's interesting to note, whenever we do have any issues that arise on federal property or federal lands, like for example, at MacDill or at the Veterans facility, any facility like that. Sometimes we have a lot of beautiful national parks. So if there are issues that arise there, those matters are also heard by the magistrate judges as well. And we call it traffic court, sort of like traffic court.
That is very interesting.
And then on the civil side, again, everything under the sun before it proceeds to trial. From discovery, we handle issues related to experts, and everything in between, extensions of time, anything that you can really think of before it proceeds to trial. And then, a lot of Daubert motions, motions to suppress, motions for summary judgment. Those are also referred to us for, and to me, as for a report and recommendation. And then I also handle civil trials when the parties consent.
Okay.
Very.
It seems like it, but keeps you on your toes. You have something new, something different, maybe a area of law that you haven't touched before. So it just seems like a continual learning experience. So that sounds good.
Very interesting. Absolutely.
And so what would you say has been your biggest career and or personal achievement?
Well, I would say that the biggest personal achievement, I have to say, again, is really being a mom, being a parent of kids that, are kind and thoughtful and, hopefully will be able to make contributions in the world themselves. That's probably the most important thing I think that I've done on the personal side.
Understandable.
And then on the professional side, I do a lot of mentoring, and I really enjoy that a lot. Working with young people, whether it's young kids in high school or middle school, or even young lawyers or young college students, I really enjoy that work and enjoy trying to have a role in their career. I do fashion myself as a career planner because I try to plan my own career. And I do love when people ask me for help, because I just love to sort of help them figure out how to get from A to B. And, they don't always need to listen to me, but I just love to go through that exercise and just try to lend assistance whenever I can. I really enjoy that a lot.
Okay. And so let's switch to getting to know you a little better outside of your position as a judge. How do you like to spend your time when you're not on the bench?
I love to garden, love to grow plants of different types, and really just like to see them, grow and see if they'll live. I go check for them every day to see if they're still there. We have a lot of deer in our area, and so some of them are very attractive to the deer, but I really just enjoy that process of planting the plants and watching them grow. I love to do exercising and spend time with friends and that sort of stuff as well. Of course, I still love reading, and I do that a lot as well.
Okay. I'm also a plant mom. So how many plants do you have?
Well, it's, and they're outside. So it's, I can't even count them for you, but yeah, I'm always thinking we could put a plant right there. There's, there's another spot right there for another new plant to go. And so there's all sorts of plants that are in the plant garden in the yard where I live. And most of them have stayed alive. So I'm very proud of them.
Good. You mentioned that you like reading. What is the last book you read?
I love to read nonfiction. I will read some fiction also, but I do love to read nonfiction. And the most recent book that I've read, I'm actually still reading, is the biography of General Grant. I love reading about history and historical figures. He, of course, just has a wonderful history of being a president, being the general in the Union Army, and just such a wonderful life journey, and everything that he did with the Civil War. It was just fascinating, and his leadership as part of that war is just, it's incredibly interesting. And then his life story and what led him to be such an important figure, in his failings, but also the strength of his character as well. It's just is fascinating. So, but I also love uh, Jane Austen as well. Things that are also fictional accounts, but placed in history and a historical context, and just learning about how other people live. So love that.
Perfect. And do you have a favorite dish? And if so, what is it?
Well, I have plenty of favorite dishes I love to eat. So not too many that I love to cook. I will cook, but I do love trying different dishes. But I would say what I really love to eat most of the time is some sort of grilled fish, any type of grilled fish, but white fish of any kind. Love it. And if you can put some blackening seasoning on it to make it nice and spicy, and then even better. So that's probably my favorite dish.
Okay, so I believe those are all the questions that I have. Before we sign off, is there anything that you would like to add?
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you hopefully at a business law section meeting.
Yes. Well, again, thank you very much for agreeing to participate, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our meetings. I know we have one coming up, so hopefully we can meet in person then.
Yes.
But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we will keep in touch. And everyone who is watching, again, please be sure to subscribe, and you will be updated and notified about additional Better Know a Judge's video series that we have coming up. Thank you again.
Thank you. Take care.